Hello everyone. We are Group 37 and I'm Jing Yuan. So today's presentation will be about Company A productivity. So I will start with the company background first, followed by the current situation of the company. And then we will go ahead with the root cause analysis, the countermeasures, results, and what's the follow-up actions after that. Yeah. So for the first point, right, is our problem statement. And apparently there is a loss in productivity in terms of the total time spent, which is more than or equals to 52 hours just to train the new joiners, as the supervisors have to prepare the training materials at the start of every quarter of the year. Hence, in this presentation, we want to reduce the time spent by at least 50%. And take note that training the new joiners is still part of the supervisor job scope. As such, the goal of this presentation is to ensure that supervisors are able to effectively manage their time well in training them. So we had also conducted a survey for them, and as you can see on the right side of the donut chart, you can see that 4 out of 5 supervisors spent more than 32 hours, and they also suffered an overloading of their workload due to this job scope. Hence, in the next few slides, we will show you the current situation of the company.
Hello, I'm Do Zihong. I will be presenting current situation and the goals. So the current situation is to reduce the process of preparing training material from the supervisor and figuring out how to train more new joiners instead of one-to-one coaching and have a clear understanding of the training needs while reducing the cycle time by 50%, which is equivalent to 26 hours. That is our goal. And next, I will hand on to my teammate to present root cause analysis.
Hi, my name is Nicholas, and now we'll be talking about the root cause analysis. So, over here we have our fishbone diagram, and we have categorized our issues into 5 categories. Some things to consider before actually going through what can actually be solved is some things such as manpower issues and time management that is not totally in our control, and the communication issues which are subjected to the company's policies such as work from home and such. So therefore, based on what we have control over, these are the whys that we are able to tackle. For example, in human resource management, we are able to tackle the one-for-one training and the SOP procedures without proper documentation. Some things to take note is also the training provided, they are different for every team, and there is no one or group in charge of the creation and maintenance of these training documents and the SOP. Next, I'll let my teammate talk about the countermeasures.
Hi, my name is Hasina and I'll be explaining on the countermeasures. So based on each why statement created, a proposed solution will be created as we consult with the 5 supervisors who took part in the survey. So we'll start the 4 why starting from the left. The first one is, why are the training one-to-one? A proposed centralized training platform with Confluence was created where new joiners can access on the go. So this helps to free up time used by supervisors while also reducing the time spent to recreate training documents after the yearly team rotation as mentioned in the background. The second why is, why are there no standard operating procedures with proper documentation? The centralized training platform also includes the standard procedures where the documentation is being centralized and is easy to access. So this was discussed with higher management and HR. The third why is the training provided different for every team? With the centralized training platform, things like SOPs have been agreed upon between all teams, aside for the minor outliers such as project-specific trainings, things like naming schemes, project documentation formats, and even code requirements have been standardized. And the last why would be, why is there not a person or group responsible for the creation and maintenance of training documents along with the standard operating procedures? The creation and maintenance of the training platform is a shared responsibility. So it's between all the teams and also higher management. There are quarterly checks and management of the centralized training platform, which will also be conducted. And before each quarter, aside from the minor outliers, a meeting will be set up with all the stakeholders. This is to ensure that the content of the centralized training platform is sufficient to train the new joiners. So from there, how does one assess if the new joiners are proficient after going through the training program? So we have 4 methods here. A test was created to see the new joiners if they understand the content, and it should be taken should the new joiner fail the test. This is to cycle their learning. So the second one will be quarterly meetings with stakeholders. This is to ensure that training materials are up to date and ample. This was done through a checklist with all the business requirements listed for the trainee to learn. The third one will be the Q&A section was also introduced in the training platform so that the new joiners need not create the questions if it can be found in the Q&A section. So because we don't want repetitive questions being asked, which is wasting time. Lastly, we use tools like Confluence, which will be ample to document the training materials and is also centralized. Moreover, the outliers such as project-specific trainings are also documented in Confluence. So this is to ensure that after the yearly team rotation, the next supervisor that takes over will still have training materials and not have to create a new one. So now I'll pass on to my teammates to explain the results.
Next, I'll be presenting on the results. Here we have our value stream mapping with the new proposed solution. Let us first take a look at the training materials preparation. The usage of Confluence has helped to reduce the time needed to prepare the training materials for the supervisors. And for the time management, with the help of the other supervisors and higher management, the content was made easy to absorb for the newcomers, and hence lesser time was needed for them to absorb the information, which reduced the total amount of training time. So as you can look here, more than 50% of the total time needed for training has been reduced from a total of 52 hours to just 15 hours of cycle time. As for the training conclusion, this also took a shorter time thanks to the quiz that was created for the new joiners to take to ensure that they are proficient enough. As compared to previously, where the supervisors have to make sure the new joiners were proficient by going through with them the entire flow manually, this is a much better way to do it. So we have gathered some responses from certain supervisors on their thoughts of the new training process. So as you can see, all of them agreed that they had a smaller load after the implementation of the centralized training platform. And they also agreed that the total time needed for them and the new joiner to participate in the training process has been reduced by more than 50% after this implementation. So moving on, some follow-up actions. So how do we track what questions were harder in the test that concludes the training? We need some data to understand which part the newcomers are struggling with. As there are already Microsoft services already available, we could create the Microsoft Forms which can be used for the test, and the Microsoft Forms also allow the supervisors to see all the options and answers chosen by the new joiners to gather some data. And how do we know what to look out for during the quarterly meetings to update the Confluence training platform? So we can actually maintain a private checklist that can be made in Confluence, which will show all the things to look out for during the update. So this is the end of Group 37's presentation. Thank you.